After long last, the NFL season is officially back. Well, actually, not officially, Ponzi, but we are right on the precipice here of kicking off the 2025 NFL season with Cowboys versus Eagles tonight. Now, we're not going to be here on this show doing a watch party, but we do have a live show for you guys breaking down the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers before we go into this weekend, where, of course, the Steelers will have their season opener versus the New York Jets. On today's show, we got the latest Steelers news and rumors. Cam Heyward did not practice today, and a lot of Steelers fans were freaking out a little bit about that. So we'll talk about what that whole situation is about. Also, Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith had some very interesting things to say about the Steelers offense. We'll talk about that at the top of today's show. Then we'll get into quarterback draft targets for week 2 of college football that you guys need to be watching out for on Saturday. And then we've got our weekly mailbag here for week 1. I answer your questions on the black and gold. So if you got any questions about this week's game, if you got any questions about Aaron Rodgers, if you have any questions about the Steelers team as a whole, you guys can get your questions in on today's mailbag by using hashtag Steelers down there in the live chat or by super chatting to get on today's Q&A. The only way to guarantee your question gets on the mailbag is if you super chat. But if you guys put hashtag Steelers down in the live chat with your question behind it. So, for example, you go down there, you put hashtag Steelers. How many wins will the Steelers have this year? Or whatever question that you have for me, you guys can put that down there, and Ponzi will pick the best questions for today's mailbag. So make sure you guys spam those me's down there in the comments section to kick us off. I'll give some shout outs here to the people that have clicked that thumbs up icon to kick off today's show. We got Lil Slush here. We got Gary Frank. We got Martin. We got my lovely fiance Cassie Voth. We got Eric Brown, Czar Craig, Gary Frank, Kenny Bazer. Derek Smith is here. We've got Craig. We got Robert Locke coming in with our first super chat of today. We got Lee. We got Gen05. We got Eric Gender. We've got Hot Rod 24. What's up, Rod? We got Madden God. We've got Michael. We've got Eric Gender again. Gary Frank. We've got Cassie. We got GPA. Got a good crew of Steelers fans ready to talk some Steelers football today here, ladies and gentlemen. We got Joe Brown, Eric Brown, Martin Klunder. I hope I'm saying that right, Martin. But we got just about over 100 people in the chat room right now. We already got our first $20 super chat from Robert Locke getting us going here today. It says, best Steelers channel anywhere. Well, Robert, we appreciate that, man. We try to give you guys the best damn Steelers coverage money can buy, 100% free on this channel. And a big part of that is our producer here. So let's bring on our producer here on Steelers Talk, Mr. Ponzi. Ponzi, how we doing today?
We're doing good. Another day closer to Steeler football.
That's right. Another day closer to Steeler football. And speaking of Steeler football, season opener this weekend against the Jets. I'm picking 23-3 Steelers win versus the Jets. But what is your score prediction for this one, Mr. Ponzi?
You know, I got some hard-nosed Steeler football coming in. You know, it's raining probably. You know, the weather's going to be a little bit bad. I have the Jets not scoring a single point. And I think it's going to be 20-0. Chris Boswell knocks in 2. Aaron Rodgers throws 2 TDs.
What was the score prediction? Sorry, it was
20-0.
20-0. So Ponzi's predicting the shutout here.
I don't see it happening.
I mean, listen, okay. I don't think the Jets are going to be able to move the football all that well. I think they're going to try and run the football, and they're not going to be able to. And then later in the game, when they're down multiple scores and they're trying to pass it, I think this pass rush gets home. And it's just going to – I think it's going to be ugly for the New York Jets here in week 1. And they got a brand-new head coach who's just getting his feet wet. He's got a quarterback that I'm not sure is all that great of a passer. They only have really one legitimate receiving threat, in my opinion, in Garrett Wilson, which the Steelers can easily double team. And they've got more than enough size to be able to handle, the run game up front, especially with Elijah Vera Tucker out for this one. And if they don't have Sauce Gardner, Ponzi, who's currently, a limited participant in practices for them, that's going to be a massive loss for the New York Jets as well. So this might even get up to the 30s to 3. This might be one of the biggest, clobberings of the season for any team if they don't have Sauce Gardner out there to guard DK Metcalf. I don't want to get too ahead of myself or sound too confident, because you can never be too confident heading into a National Football League game, but I feel pretty darn good about this one, guys. And if the Steelers can't beat this Jets team, unless Justin Fields is just like amazing all of a sudden and he's like ripping apart this Steelers defense and Aaron Rodgers is terrible or whatever the case may be, there's no reason why the Steelers shouldn't come away with the victory this weekend. So definitely excited to see what Aaron Rodgers, this defense, this offensive line, how all of these players look, because I'm pretty optimistic about this year's Steelers team here, Ponzi. All right, now if you guys want to get in on the action today, if we can get to $100 in donations, super chats, whatever, we will give away a Steelers Talk hat. I see Eric Brown down there in the chat says he still hasn't gotten his hat. Eric, we did send it, so hopefully it comes in the mail here pretty soon. I have no control over when it shows up when the shipping department gets it to you, but hopefully it is soon. But just know, Eric, that it is on its way. But if you guys want to get into the raffle today, or if you just want to buy a Steelers Talk hat today, you can just send me a $50 Venmo, and you guys can join Steelers Talk Hat Club. But if you want to join the raffle today to win one on the raffle today, $5 gets you into the raffle, $10 gets you 3 raffle tickets, $20 gets you 10 tickets, plus your name on the Steelers Talk Gong here. Added all the names from last time, by the way. I didn't have my Sharpie, but I did add all those names to the Gong from Tuesday's live show. And then if we can get to every $250 total that we get today, I'm going to hit the Gong. And you know what? Because it's week 1, I'm going to make a special deal. Every $100 we make on today's show, instead of $250, every $100 we make, we will bang the gong for you guys on today's show. So if you guys want to get in on the raffle to win the Steelers Talk hat today, make sure you guys send in those super chats. We greatly appreciate your guys' support. I already have multiple Venmos coming in.
I did hear that.
So I will send those your way, Ponzi. But if you guys want to send in your donations via Venmo or PayPal, we actually get to keep more of the proceeds that you guys send in if you send it into Venmo or PayPal, because YouTube, with their super chats, takes 30% of every single super chat that you guys send in. So if you want us to keep more of the proceeds and more of the money that you guys donate to the channel, you guys can send in Venmos at Jack_Sperry on Venmo and at Captain Jackrabbit on PayPal. Ponzi, I'm going to send you these, I believe it's 2. No, it's 3. We got 2 PayPals, no, 2 Venmos, no, 1 Venmo, 1 PayPal. Okay, I will send this to Ponzi, and then we'll get into the content today here, folks. I got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So we got Martin.
I will say, I do see some super chats flowing in. I see a couple questions. So I will put those up for mailbag. So I see your super chat, Hot Rod.
All right. So let's get to some super chats here before we get into the segments today. I see Mr. Robert Locke. Oh, not Robert Locke. Of course, Robert did put in a 20, but we got Hot Rod in there, and we got Bernard, the question master here on Steelers Talk. He's always putting in his questions, whether we're doing a mailbag or not. But we can get to those super chats once those load. We also have a couple of Venmo alerts to get to as well. So we're well on our way to hitting the gong for the first time today.
That would be also a hat raffle.
Yes, and if we get to 100, we will do that. So Cassie is texting me here. Okay, I got it. Okay, so Ponzi, do we have those super chats ready to go here?
Right now, it is not loading.
Unfortunately, our super chat graphics are not loading, so hopefully those happen here pretty soon. I'm just going to read these out, actually. Hot Rod 24 with a 5 says, starting up a tradition I did last year for Steelers Talk weekly predictions. Steelers are going to win 24-10 with, of course, a garbage time touchdown for the Jets. I wouldn't be surprised by that. 24-10. I think that's a pretty darn good prediction there for Mr. Hot Rod. We'll put you up on screen, Hot Rod, once we get the software back up and running. But we got Bernard Nixon with a 2. Says Aaron Rodgers been bad the last 3 years, and week 1 worry. I'm not necessarily super worried about it. Sometimes he has kind of gotten off to slow starts in week 1s, but like I was talking about, even if Aaron Rodgers does struggle a little bit here this week, guys, I'm not too worried about it because I think the Steelers' defense is going to win this football game for the team, all right? Like, they could score 13 points, and I still think they're going to win. Now, obviously, if the Steelers win this game 13-3 or 13-6 and they're not moving the football on offense, then I think a lot of people will begin to panic about, is the offense good enough to compete with better football teams this year. And I think that is more than fair to worry about that. But I think that, based on what we've heard from Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers, and the other members of this Steelers offense this week, I'm feeling pretty good about heading into the season. There might be some hiccups along the way, but I think once we get past the bye, once we get to that Week 6 game against the Cleveland Browns, I'm hoping that this offense is firing on all cylinders, and I'm hoping that they can be at least like 3-1. It's a very winnable first stretch of the season. You got the Jets, you got Seahawks. I think that, Sam Darnold might be seeing ghosts against the Steelers defense when he goes up against us next week at Acrisure Stadium. And then you got another young quarterback in Drake May and the Patriots with another kind of shoddy offensive line. I think that's a very winnable game for the Steelers. And then you got the Vikings in Dublin. So, I think it's very reasonable to expect the Steelers to be 3-1 at least heading into the bye. And it's very possible that they could be 4-0 heading into the bye. How great would that be, right? So Martin Klunder coming in with a $20, I believe it's a PayPal. And let's see if he had a message here. He said, like to watch you from Germany. So, Martin, we appreciate you. Thank you for the $20 donation, and we appreciate you watching. I don't even know what time it is in Germany, man. It's got to be either late or early because it's on the other side of the globe.
Let's take our best guess.
I'm not even gonna guess because it's just gonna be a bad guess. And then we got Caleb Umholtz coming in here with a 5. I believe this is forgive me if I'm mistaking this here, Caleb, but is this DJ KJ? I'm pretty sure it is. Says, hey, Jack, a little life update. Steelers' dad is having open heart surgery tomorrow. Wow. Please pray for him to recover soon. All right. Well, that is very scary, but we are going to be with Steelers' dad, and he's going to be in our thoughts and prayers throughout the next 48 hours or so. Hopefully that surgery goes well. I'm sorry to hear that. You guys have been such a big supporter of our channel, and you guys always make sure to show up, and I know you guys just moved as well, so I'm really hoping that procedure goes well. Hopefully we get some good news and a good update from you guys on Sunday on the watch party, but obviously take your time, doing everything you guys need to do to make sure Steelers' dad is okay, because we need Steelers' dad here, right? We need Steelers' dad here because he's a big part of our channel here. So big shout out to that family, the Umholtz family that has been a big-time supporter of Steelers Talk for a long time, and our thoughts and prayers are with you guys. Okay, so now we got a $5 super chat coming in. Do we have super chats now, or are they still they're still not coming in?
It's still not coming in. I'm getting some help here.
Okay, well, I mean, so I'm just gonna read this off. Apologies to everyone that's super chatting, but we're having a tough time pulling super chats right now. He says 2 truths, 1 lie. Steelers finally win a playoff game. Steelers tight ends have the most receiving yards for the team, and Steelers #1 defense in the league. I would say Steelers tight end has most receiving yards for the team. I think DK Metcalf is going to carry the wide receiver room, but I still think the wide receivers will outgain the tight ends. It won't be super far apart. Like, the tight ends are going to get a lot of work in this year as receiving threats. I think that's going to give this team kind of a competitive edge. We'll talk about that a little bit in our first segment today. But, I think that with DK Metcalf, what I expect him to do is this team's #1 receiver is going to be kind of carrying the load there for the wide receiver room. So I would say that would be the 1 lie. But I think the Steelers could very well have the #1 defense in the National Football League this year, and I do think that they could absolutely win a playoff game this year. So we do have one more Venmo alert to get to here, but coming up here in just a second here, guys, the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. We've got our week 2 college football preview when it comes to QB draft targets. I've got 8 college quarterbacks you guys should be watching this weekend, and then we'll get into our week 1 mailbag. Again, guys, if you want to get on the mailbag, #Steelers along with your question down there in the live chat room, or you guys can super chat to guarantee that your question gets on the show. All right, so do we have it figured out? We have it figured out, Ponzi says. So we'll get those super chats up here rapid fire in just a second. We also have a Venmo alert that we want to get to. But, in the meantime here, never mind, they're ready to go right now. $5 from my man Hot Rod 24. Hot Rod's got his picture of me and him at Steelers training camp there. That's awesome, Hot Rod. So starting up a tradition. We already read these, so we can just go rapid fire here, Ponzi. if we want to get to him. Bernard saying A-Rod been bad the last 3 years in week 1. Worry. I think he was asking me if I was worried about that. I'm not really particularly worried, Bernard. I still think the Steelers are going to win. My goal and my expectation is that this team and this offense is humming by the time we get to week 6. That's the expectation from me. I don't expect it to be perfect here in week 1. But yeah. And then I think this one's an older one. Is this not, or did he put in 2? Did he put in 2? All right, so Bernard says, Pony said Daniel Jones will be better than Aaron Rodgers. I did see this, Bernard, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I ranked Daniel Jones, I believe, 31st among 32 starting NFL quarterbacks heading into the year. So that's just absolutely ridiculous. Pony doesn't like Aaron Rodgers. He didn't want him. It's very well documented. But, the fact that he doesn't want him and he thinks that Rodgers is a bad quarterback should tell you exactly why you should be optimistic about Aaron Rodgers heading into the year, right? Because Pony is wrong about everything. So if he's not high on Aaron Rodgers, that can only mean good things for this team. Then you got Justin Yankuski with a 5, says Truce One Lie. We already went over this one as well. So we'll get to the Venmo alert here, and then we'll get into our first segment of the day. A $20 Venmo coming in from my man Robert Locke. Already. $40 donated on today's show. And right now, I believe, what are we at? So we're at 40, so that's 73. I think we're a $20 super chat away from banging the gong and locking in the Steelers Talk hat raffle. But Robert says, all my entries to Steelers Dad. All right, so that's 10 raffle entries there. Oh, actually 20 raffle entries to Steelers Dad. So our thoughts and our prayers are with Steelers Dad, DJ, KJ, and their family. Hopefully Steelers Dad's surgery goes well tomorrow. Thanks for letting us know that, DJ, KJ. It's good. I'm glad you told us that. So, okay, let's get into our first segment of the day here, folks. We got the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up here. Then, don't go anywhere because we do have a college football quarterback preview here for week 2. And then we're going to be getting into your questions. So if you have a question, you want to get on the show for free, hashtag Steelers to get that job done. And, let's get those questions down there because Ponzi's going to be picking the best of the lot once we get to the end of the show. So without further ado here, let's get into our first segment of the day, the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tonight on Steelers Talk, Cam Heyward was not at practice today on the south side of Pittsburgh at the Steelers training facility, and some people are up in arms about it. I'm going to be breaking down why Cam Heyward was not at practice today and why Steelers fans should not be freaking out about this, and then we'll get into what Aaron Rodgers and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith had to say about the Steelers offense. Something tells me that you're going to be pretty excited to see what those two had to say about this team. But yesterday, I challenged you guys and us here as a channel to get to 91,000 subscribers by Sunday. We just passed 90,000 subscribers, and Giants Now, our Giants channel here at Chat Sports, was able to put up 1,000 new subscribers over the span of just 3 days. And Marshall Green, their host, was telling me there's no way any other channel was going to be able to get that job done. So yesterday, we added a whopping 314 subscribers on just the first day. Okay, so we still have 686 more subscribers to go before we get to 91,000. But if we can get there by Sunday's watch party, my promise to you guys is that we will have a very special raffle giveaway for that watch party that we're going to be doing on Sunday afternoon, all right? So if you guys love Steelers content, you guys want Steelers news and rumors updates every single day, plus you want live watch parties for every single Steelers game this year, make sure you guys click that subscribe button. And again, guys, we will be going live on Sunday starting at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, an hour and a half of pregame coverage, getting you ready for the Steelers season opener versus Justin Fields and the New York Jets. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button and help us get to 91K so we can do that special giveaway. All right, so now let's get into the Cam Heyward news update of the day here, where Cam Heyward was not participating at Steelers practice today, and a lot of fans are kind of freaking out about this, all these different things, and I don't think it's necessarily warranted at this point in time. I do think that Cam Heyward will play against the New York Jets on Sunday. Now, let's just take a look at the situation, okay, guys, because Cam Heyward signed a 2-year extension last season that was slated to keep him here until the end of the 2026 campaign. He signed that contract at just $14.5 million per season, and then last year he became an All-Pro, all right? He had an All-Pro season, and because of that, now he's seeking a pay raise to kind of so that his salary and what he's getting paid is closely more reflected to the level of play that he brings to the table, and he has hinted that he may sit out games here during the 2025 season if he does not get that pay raise by the time that this team plays the New York Jets on Sunday. So, this is certainly a situation that has been kind of contentious for a little while now. He has been practicing with the team in full pads, and he's been a full participant for a few weeks now, pretty much ever since the team left Latrobe there at Steelers training camp. But today he was not at practice, which a lot of people kind of took to mean that he is not looking to play on Sunday, or that he's holding out now and that this is contract related. And I just don't think that that is necessarily the case here, guys. Like I said, some people are assuming that this is contract related. I think it was reported today by Ray Fittipaldo. I think we have that social here where he reported that it actually wasn't about the contract like some people assumed. It was actually just a veteran day off. Here's the tweet from Ray Fittipaldo confirming that Cameron Heyward had a veteran day off today, but Nick Herbig was limited again. So keep your eye on Nick Herbig and his status for Sunday. But a lot of people, once Adam Schefter especially retweeted, I think it was Brooke Pryor's indication there that Cam Heyward was not practicing today, that people were assuming that he was holding out because he didn't want to practice or play until he got this contract done. And there was some slander on Cam Heyward out there during that time. But I do think that there's a decent chance that the Pittsburgh Steelers get Cam his pay raise before Sunday's game versus the Jets. And the reason why I think there's a decent chance they give him that pay raise is because they can afford to do so, all right? Plus, frankly, Cam deserves it, all right? Right now, Cam is currently the 24th highest paid defensive tackle in the National Football League, all right? Like, are we really going to sit here and say that he is not a top 20, top 15, top 10, even top 5 defensive tackle in the National Football League? I mean, you take a look at his numbers just last season, all right? This is not, 3-4 seasons ago. He's not living based on past production from 3-4 years ago. This was last year, 12 TFLs, 8 sacks, and 11 PBUs. That led defensive tackles in the National Football League last year and had an elite PFF grade of 90.3. So is Cameron Heyward getting older? Absolutely. But is he worth a little bit of a pay raise here heading into the season if you can afford it? I think absolutely, especially because you look at the projected cap space right now for the Steelers. They have almost $27 million to work with this season, all right? So to give Cam Heyward somewhere between like a $6 and $10 million pay raise is not going to affect the Steelers' ability to build the team at the trade deadline or make a move for a veteran or something like that if they feel the need to. All right, like they have plenty of cap space to be able to make this happen. And I think that, if they want to keep their team captain happy heading into the season and they want their top player in their locker room and the biggest voice in their locker room to feel valued within this organization this year, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily going to hurt this team all that much to give $6, $8, maybe $10 million more to him this season. And I really don't think it's going to affect the Steelers' ability to make this team better at the trade deadline if they choose to do so. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Will Cam Heyward get a raise before Sunday's game versus the New York Jets? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section for today's pinned question. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And while I'm telling you about Prize Picks today, let me know down there in the comment section if you think Cam gets paid before Sunday's game. All right, now let's get into our Prize Picks read here, guys. And you and I make decisions every single day. We both know that. But on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. This week, it's week 1, and you better believe I'll be getting my Prize Picks lineups in for the season opener tonight and all the way through Monday Night Football. Prize Picks is super simple to play. You just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you can cash in. PrizePicks also puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And PrizePicks also offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. And a new feature from PrizePicks that I love is injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half with an injury and doesn't return, PrizePicks will not count it as a loss. So for this weekend's action here, Steelers versus Jets, here's my PrizePicks projection. I'm taking the more on touchdowns for Darnell Washington. I think he might get the first touchdown of the season. Then I'm going to be taking the less on Justin Fields' passing yards. Good luck going up against the Steelers defense, buddy. Then you're going to take the more on sacks for T.J. Watt. I think he gets at least 2, but I would not be surprised if he really racks them up here in the season opener against Justin Fields, who likes to hold the ball for a long time, and a rookie right tackle in Armin Membu. So download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup with the PrizePicks app today. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup on the PrizePicks app today. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, so now let's talk about Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith, who recently talked with the media this week in Pittsburgh, and they have been saying some pretty kind words about their offense heading into the year. Now, Arthur Smith, something that I thought was very interesting that he said actually today in his press conference with the media, is that he confirms that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been tailoring their offense to the strengths of their players, something that he's been saying all offseason long, but also he really heavily hinted that this team is going to be attacking the middle of the field, something that this team just didn't do last year with Russell Wilson in at quarterback. You guys can take a look what Art had to say here. He says, last year throwing outside the numbers was a strength of ours. You look at the history of Russell Wilson, he throws as good of a go ball as anybody that's ever played the position. Last year it was different. This year it will be different with Aaron Rodgers. There's so many different guys that can do a bunch of, and then we're talking, never mind here. So this is actually a future graphic here. Ponzi pushed it a little bit too early. So F Ponzi in the chat there, guys. But this is something that I'm very excited about here, guys, with the Steelers offense heading into 2025, is that they're going to be able to push the ball over the middle of the field in the passing game a little bit more than what they have in recent seasons. Kenny Pickett didn't like throwing over the middle of the field. Russell Wilson didn't like throwing over the middle of the field, and it showed in the way that this team played offense. But Aaron Rodgers, somebody that traditionally also likes to throw outside the numbers, but also he's played his best football in systems that have pretty much forced him to throw over the middle. Just look at what he did in Matt LaFleur's offense there in Green Bay, where he won 2 straight NFL MVPs not that long ago, by the way. So that's definitely music to my ears that Arthur Smith sees this team throwing the ball over the middle more often this year. But then we get to Aaron Rodgers and his view here on the offense as a whole this season. And he is talking about the offensive weaponry in a way that you don't see a lot of Steelers fans talk about them heading into the year, specifically the tight end room here, where he says there's so many different guys here that can do a lot of things. There's little guys who can run up around and make plays inside and outside. You've got 4 very capable tight ends. You've got 3 very capable backs. You've got a really, really freaking smart center. So he really likes the pieces that this Steelers offense has, and specifically, he really likes the tight ends as well. But I also kind of share Aaron Rodgers' take here that the Steelers' group of weapons is extremely underrated. I've been saying that I think Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III is kind of smaller, speedier wide receivers are going to surprise a lot of people this year, especially in Steelers Nation that don't believe in those 2 individuals. But Rodgers specifically took time to talk about the Steelers tight end room here. This is what he had to say. It's the best tight end room I've ever been around in 21 years. We have 4 extremely capable guys. We had different runs in Green Bay where we had some great players, but just the depth that we have here with 4 guys who you feel great about having on the field at any time. And by the way, that also includes Connor Heyward, who Aaron Rodgers has been very complimentary of all throughout training camp. And listen, man, I've been saying for a while here that the tight end room is Pittsburgh's competitive advantage on offense. Not only does Darnell Washington give you a competitive edge in terms of having pretty much a 6th extra or an extra offensive lineman out there, but he can also catch passes, all those different things. But then Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth are kind of like bigger type of receivers that can also, play in line if needed, do the things that you want them to do, and give yourself a size mismatch, and also force defenses to play heavier and slower, which should open up opportunities to some of the speedier players on this Steelers offense. Specifically regarding Darnell Washington, Aaron Rodgers had this to say about Mount Washington in his media availability yesterday. He says, there was a lot of conversation about whether or not Darnell Washington is in the right position. The other day, we had a practice during that week before the 4 days off, and I threw him a bunch of balls in the red zone, and I was just thinking to myself, he's definitely in the right position. He's so big and so athletic. For a man of that size to be that skilled in the passing game is pretty impressive, not to mention what he does on the line of scrimmage. So obviously Rodgers is feeling pretty darn good about not only the offense as a whole, not only about the tight end room, but he feels specifically really, really good about Darnell Washington. And it sounds like DW, after 2 years of not really being used all that much in this offense, is finally going to have potentially his breakout season as somebody that's going to be a true X factor and one of the maybe secret weapons for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense this year that can turn this offense from probably a bottom 10 unit, let's be honest, the last several seasons, to one that could potentially even creep into the top 10 among NFL teams this year. So let me know, over or under, down there in the comment section. Will Darnell Washington have over or under 5.5 touchdowns this year? Give me the O for over or U for under. For me, I am smashing the over here. I think Darnell Washington is going to have a hell of a 2025 season. All right, guys, that'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Talk. Thank you guys so much for stopping by here today. We will see you guys tomorrow. And until then, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, first segment in the books here, guys. So let me know, over or under, down there in the comments when it comes to Darnell Washington touchdowns. I'm taking the over, man. I think he's going to have a really good season this year. It sounds like, Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith's plan, specifically at the goal line and in the red zone, really does feature Darnell Washington. So for me, I think he gets over that 5.5 touchdown mark for the season. But coming up next, we got QB draft targets for week 2 of college football that Steelers fans, at least in my opinion, need to be keeping their eye on. Then we'll be getting into our mailbag here, guys. So if you haven't already, get your question in, #Steelers down there in the live chat if you want to get your question in. And there it is, #Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show today. And we are doing a Steelers Talk hat raffle. I think we're still, if I'm not mistaken, a $10 Super Chat or Venmo away from locking in the Steelers Talk hat raffle. So if you guys want to get that going, we would greatly appreciate you guys. And if you guys want to get in on the hat raffle today, $5 donation gets you in on the raffle, $10 gets you 3 raffle tickets, $20 gets you 10 tickets plus your name on the Gong here at Steelers Talk. And then if you guys put in a $50 donation, you just buy yourself a Steelers Talk hat for yourselves. I'm sorry, guys, I don't set the prices for the hats. My bosses do, but they said every $50 Venmo that you get, you can give away a hat to that person. So if you guys want to join Steelers Talk Hat Club, $50 is the price to lock yourself in. Otherwise, you can send in a $5, $10, or $20 to try your luck in the raffle. Then every $100 we make today, we will be hitting the Steelers Talk Gong. We just got a Venmo here, Mr. Ponzi, so I will send it your way. There we go. And if you guys want to send in your donations via Venmo or PayPal, we get to keep more of the proceeds when you send it in via those channels. So you can go to @Jack-Sperry on Venmo or @CaptainJackRabbit on PayPal if you guys want to donate via those avenues. But we got a $14 Venmo here from my man Lil Slush. And he says, I miss George Pickens with a frowny face. And he puts in a $14 super chat. Listen, man, George was so much fun to watch with his play style, his ability to high point the football. His spectacular catch ability, I still think, is the best in the National Football League. He's underrated after the catch as well. He's a hell of a talent, but according to the reports on the ground, the Steelers and the coaches and a lot of his teammates and a lot of people in the building were just tired of the bullshit, all right? Showing up late to meetings, immaturity, fighting fans and other teammates, not giving solid effort on the field, whether it was route running, whether it was blocking. If it was a concept where he knew he probably wasn't getting the football, he wasn't going to give 100% effort. So that's not really what Mike Tomlin is all about. He said last year that George needs to grow up and grow up fast. He didn't do that. And that's why, or part of the reason why the Steelers felt comfortable letting him go for a third-round pick. So I'm going to miss watching him play and his talent being on this team. But I think this team, I think is going to have more success without him than they did have with him. I really do believe in this offensive weaponry group that much. Then we got a $10 super chat from my man Rad Doctor. By the way, that does get us to over $100. So we lock in the hat raffle today and we bang the gong. Bang! There we go, man. $100 on today's show. We greatly appreciate your guys' support. And then we got another super chat coming in here from Bernard Nixon. Another question. And he says, if A-Rod flops, does that damage his legacy? No, he's still a Hall of Fame quarterback. It doesn't affect his legacy. It's like, did a Joe Namath going to the Rams affect his legacy? Did Johnny Unitas going to the Chargers change his legacy? Did Joe Montana going to the Chiefs change his legacy? No. Like, Aaron Rodgers will forever be remembered as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game of football. All right. And, he's also going to be remembered for some of the stuff he did during COVID, and a lot of people are not going to like him. And his legacy is a little bit tarnished in some people's eyes because of that. But honestly, I think that this is kind of it's only up from here from Aaron. Because if he wins a Super Bowl here in Pittsburgh, like, that's going to make him, a Steelers legend for life, along with the fact that he's already a Packer legend for life. He's already a Hall of Famer. Like, if he doesn't succeed here, like, that doesn't affect his legacy at all. He's still a Hall of Famer, still a Super Bowl champion, still one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But if he can do it with a second team like Tom Brady was able to do, that's only going to elevate his legacy. So as far as I'm concerned, it's only up from here for Aaron Rodgers in terms of legacy that could be got from his time here in Pittsburgh. All right, so we got our next segment coming up here. Are we organized with graphics and stuff? We're good on that? Okay, so we're going to get into our next segment here, quarterback draft targets that you guys should be watching out for here in week 2 of college football. So without further ado, let's get into that segment, and let's talk about some college quarterbacks. Week 2 of college football is right around the corner, and today I'm going to be breaking down 2026 QB draft targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers that every Steelers fan should watch here in Week 2. Before we get into the quarterback talk today, guys, the last quarterback video that we did surrounding the 2026 NFL Draft got 359 likes, and my bosses tell me we have to get to at least 360 likes on this video in order to do our recap video next week, Monday. So if you guys want the recap video, if you want to know how John Mateer does versus Michigan, if you guys want to know how all these top quarterbacks play in week 2 of college football, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon to let us know that you want more of this type of content here on Steelers Talk. So let's start here with the big matchup of the week that everybody should be watching if you are a college football fan in general, let alone a Steelers fan. The Michigan Wolverines travel to Norman, Oklahoma here on Saturday night to take on the Oklahoma Sooners. And of course, both these teams 1-0. It's the biggest game in college football this week. Usually week 1, there's a lot of really good matchups. And then in week 2, a lot of teams tend to play softer opponents, FCS, all these different things. But not these two, man. They decided to go with their big matchup here this week instead of last week where they played easier opponents. And, it's going to be John Mateer's opportunity to introduce himself to the college football audience and to the Steelers audience because I think this guy has the potential to be a potential first-round pick. He's got an insane amount of arm talent. He's got a lot of upside as a player. I think all eyes should be on him as we head into this game. For me, when I watch him play with his kind of sidearm delivery, he reminds me a lot of Justin Herbert. Now, he's not nearly as tall or as big as Justin Herbert, but he's also a really good rusher of the football as well. He did that a lot at Washington State last last year. And in the first game of the season, even though the Sooners played a much lower opponent, let's put it, Mateer was slinging that thing. He was hitting, intermediate digs. He was throwing the ball down the field, kind of certain concepts that the Steelers want to run here in Pittsburgh. And he's got a huge arm that can certainly cut through the conditions of the AFC North. So definitely a guy to keep your eye on here, especially going up against a really good Michigan Wolverine defense. If he can show out in front of a national audience against this defense, man, Mateer might be putting himself on the national landscape here in week 2. And then, not only do you get to see John Mateer, but you also get to see Bryce Underwood in this game as well. Now, Underwood is not draft eligible. He's just a freshman there for the Michigan Wolverines, but he's somebody that, is going to be a mainstay in college football for quite a while now. So this is going to be kind of the first real big game for him in his college career, going up against a legitimate potential first-round quarterback in John Mateer. So it'll be interesting to see how Underwood does on this big stage in front of a national audience. I cannot wait for this football game, guys. But let me know down there in the comments section who you got. Type OU if you think Oklahoma will come away with the victory, or type MICH for the Michigan Wolverines if you think Big Blue, Go Blue is going to be able to get the win there here in week 2. Now, before we get into the rest of today's show, breaking down college quarterbacks for you guys to be watching out for, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And you and I both make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. This week, it's week 2 in the college football season. You better believe I'll be getting my Prize Picks lineups in all weekend long. Prize Picks is simple to play. You just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks also puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks also offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. And a new feature from Prize Picks that I love is injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half with an injury and doesn't return, Prize Picks will not count it as a loss. Now, in terms of my college football projections this weekend, I'm going to take the more on passing yards on Arch Manning. I think they're going to really try and get him to build some confidence this week against a softer opponent. I'm going to take the more on passing touchdowns on John Mateer. I think he throws at least one. I'm going to take the more on passing touchdowns from Sam Levitt from Arizona State. So if you guys want to check it out right now on Prize Picks, you guys can download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup on the Prize Picks app today. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Another matchup that I want you guys to keep your eye on this weekend is Baylor versus SMU. Two guys at the quarterback position that maybe aren't as well known, but two guys that are draft eligible and are worth keeping an eye on here as they play in the early portion of Saturday's college football action. We'll start here with Baylor quarterback Sawyer Robertson here, where he's kind of known as somebody that maybe doesn't have the biggest arm in the world, but he's got really great mental processing. He throws the ball on time and within rhythm. He's got really great accuracy, and then he's got plus athleticism. I wouldn't say he's a dynamic rusher of the football, but he can get outside the pocket. He can rush the ball a little bit. Now, his lackluster arm strength can get him in trouble because he will try to fit the ball into windows he can't fit it into, which especially at the NFL level is a big, big time no-no. But this is somebody that is on the national radar in terms of NFL draft QB prospects for next year, so you got to keep your eye on him. And then you got Kevin Jennings from SMU. Now, undersized. He's not tall. Maybe we'll have an issue seeing over the middle. Really relies on out-of-structure playmaking, but he's got a really intriguing physical skill set. He is a dynamic rusher of the football. He's got a really good arm as well. So, definitely keep your eye on Mr. Kevin Jennings this weekend here when the Baylor Bears travel to Dallas to take on the Mustangs. Then we get to Kansas versus Mizzou, where the guy that you got to keep your eye on here in Columbia this weekend is Jalen Daniels from the Kansas Jayhawks. I mean, this guy has been super impressive through the first 2 weeks. Now, Kansas hasn't played anybody, which is why I want you to keep your eye on him this week, because they actually play an SEC opponent in the Missouri Tigers. Now, it's not like Mizzou is like a powerhouse in the SEC or anything like that, but It's an SEC team, right? So Kansas is going to be able to go in there, and Jalen Daniels is going to be able to show what he can do against tougher competition. Because to this point, he's been lighting it up. I mean, Kansas has been taking him out in the third quarters. In the 2 games that they've played so far, they've been winning by so much. But it is very, very important here for him to show what he can do against tougher college opponents if he's going to truly rise up the ranks in terms of the best college quarterbacks to enter the NFL draft next year. So that's what I want to see, guys. I want to see what he does against Mizzou, a tougher opponent this weekend. And then we get to Oklahoma State versus Oregon, and another kind of intriguing talent to keep your eye on here is Dante Moore from Oregon. We saw last year that Dylan Gabriel really rose up in terms of his NFL draft stock playing for Oregon. Of course, that was one of the top teams in the country last season, and once again, that's expected to be the case in Eugene. And Dante is somebody that throws a really, really good deep ball, all right? That's really what he's known for. Throws with great touch and accuracy down the sideline, and this is something here where I think that Pittsburgh is going to take notice of that because they want a quarterback in the future that can throw that deep ball. They love quarterbacks that can do that. And, just look at Russell Wilson. Just look at Aaron Rodgers, guys that have thrown really good go balls throughout their career and down the field and all those different things. Dante Moore, that's what his specialty is. So very excited to see what he's going to be able to do this season. And Oklahoma State is definitely no pushover. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we're going to be doing this quarterback-style content for college quarterbacks all throughout the season, because plain and simply, guys, the Steelers are probably going to be taking a quarterback in the NFL draft next year. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button for daily Steelers videos. We also go live twice a week, getting you guys ready for that week's game, and then we also go live for the game itself on our live watch party. So it's all 100% free. We're now over 90,000 subscribers here on Steelers Talk. So if you want more of this content, make sure you guys click that subscribe button. And now let's finish up today's video here with 2 quarterbacks that maybe struggled a little bit more on film than I wanted to see in week 1, but have a chance to really bounce back here in week 2. And we'll start with Arizona State's Sam Leavitt. Now, by just looking at the box score for Leavitt, you would say, man, this guy really lit it up. He threw for a lot of yards. He was running the football quite well as well in that first game, but they didn't play anybody, and frankly, there were some bad decisions on his film. He was getting the ball out late at times. He had guys wide ass open, which was why he was able to put up 257 yards and 2 touchdowns passing, but he had a bad interception. I thought that, his timing and, just his general rhythm within the offense looked a little bit off to me. So I'm hoping to see a little bit of a cleaner game this week against a tougher opponent in Mississippi State. This is somebody that has a lot of talent. He's got some nice arm talent. He can run the football a little bit. I think he needs to fill out his frame a little bit, and he needs to prove that he can handle carrying a college-level offense. Last year, of course, Cam Scatabo really took the reins of that Sun Devil offense, and this year, Leavitt is kind of expected to take the reins there and be the guy in that offensive system, and I want to see him be able to do that this weekend. And then, the last quarterback that I'll say keep your eye on is Arch Manning, because last week it was just not a good week. There's multiple missed throws, poor mechanics, throwing the ball sidearm and off his back foot when it wasn't needed, throwing a floater, which ended up being an interception on the, trying to get it to the sideline. Just wasn't a good game, but it was a really tough place to go play your first road college football game. They're in the shoe against probably the best team in college football there in the Buckeyes. But this week against San Jose State, there's no excuse for Arch Manning not to go out there, just absolutely light it up. All right. If he's still throwing, if he's still skipping passes, if he's still throwing sidearms, that are way behind his receiver, all these different things, and he's throwing turnover worthy plays, all these different things against San Jose State, I mean, that's going to be legitimate cause for concern. But I think Texas is going to try to get this kid some confidence over the next several weeks as they gear up for the rest of their SEC schedule down the stretch. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Are you worried about Arch Manning after that, frankly, really bad week 1 performance versus the Ohio State Buckeyes? He had a couple nice throws in there, but most of it was not very good. Give me a yes or a no as to whether or not you worried about the Texas Longhorn QB. All right, that'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Talk, guys. Thank you so much for making it to the end of today's video with me. We're going to have more Steelers content coming your way as we continue to prepare for this week 1 matchup, Steelers versus Jets. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button to never miss a thing. Coming up next is our mailbag here, guys. So if you haven't gotten your question in yet, we'll give you guys about 2 minutes to get your questions in. Ponzi, how are we doing on questions? We got plenty? I'm guessing we have quite a few.
Indeed, we do, Mr. Sperry. We do have, so far, actually, we're only at like 10.
Also, Ponzi, you put Texas 1-0 on that graphic. They're 0-1.
Yeah.
So that's an F Ponzi right
That's
there.
That's Ponzi right there.
Come on, man.
I had a graphic here that was wrong. I had a graphic that was moved, and it didn't move. And I don't know, man.
I mean, come on now, Ponzi.
I gotta get in my game, man.
Tighten it up, man. Come on, it's the end of the week. You know, we're almost there, man. Come on. All right, so we got we got 2 minutes for you guys to get your questions in. You guys can get questions on the mailbag by using #Steelers down there in the live chat, or you guys can super chat to get on today's show. I do think we have some super chats to catch up on, though, Ponzi.
Indeed, we do.
While people get some more questions in there. $2 from Lulu. Did it come with a?
But then she made. Oh,
so she made 2. So Lulu came in with a 2. Then another 2 says, "Do Ben and Aaron talk now?" Yeah, they do. I think that I don't think they've ever been on bad terms.
I don't think so either.
I think they've always. I think they've always been friendly. I don't think they're friends. I don't think they hang out during the off season or anything like that. But Ben was talking with Aaron at the joint practice at Acrisure versus the Buccaneers, and it seemed like those two are friendly with each other. Big Ben Roethlisberger is saying that he believes in this Steelers team this year with Aaron on the team. So, yeah, I do think that they probably do talk, and maybe Aaron's reached out to Ben about what it means to be the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, all these different things. So, yeah, I don't think there's any animosity between those two guys, even though they did play in a Super Bowl against each other. $20 from Alex Lanier, my man, says, "Come in late. Let's go Steelers talk." Shout out to my man Alex Lanier. You're a real one. You know how much we love you, Alex. Thanks for supporting the show. But you guys got 40 more seconds to get your questions on the mailbag here, and then we're going to jump right in to get some of these questions going. But, man, it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight, though, Ponzi, because you got Eagles, you got the Cowboys. George Pickens is playing tonight. Do you think George Pickens kind of puts the NFL world on notice tonight against that really good Eagles secondary?
I hope so. I certainly hope so. I think, George Pickens, the great addition, but I do think that the Eagles roster is a little more talented than the Cowboys, obviously expecting, even with Micah Parsons gone, it was a lot of disparity there. But, he's got to step up if the Cowboys want to even have a shot at winning the game.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that he has to have a really good game. Dak is going to have to be lights out. I mean, he's not going to have much support from his run game. They're not going to be a good run game, period, this year, at least not in my opinion. I don't believe in Javonte. I don't believe in who else they got there? Miles Sanders and Jaden Blue.
They cut Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah, and they cut Deuce Vaughn. But I think it's going to be mostly on Dak tonight. He's going to have to really light it up. He's going to have to throw multiple touchdowns, and he's going to have to be methodical, carving up Vic Fangio's really good passing defense. And I think there's a limit to how much he's going to be able to do, especially because Philly's going to know more often than not that they're going to be passing the football. So with that knowledge, I think that gives the Eagles defense a clear advantage. And then on offense, you don't have Micah Parsons. So, how are you going to get to Jalen Hurts in that awesome offensive line that the Philadelphia Eagles have? How are you going to stop the run? I mean, sure, you got Kenny Clark, but that's just one component of the run defense. You don't have DeMarvion Overshown. I just feel like Saquon's going to run all over him tonight. We're going to have our score predictions at the end of the show today. But Bernard coming in with a 2 says, why can the Steelers just pay Cam?
I think he means can't.
I think he means can't as well. I think they might be trying to play a little bit of hardball here. I'm actually not sure. I would have tried to get with his agent and tried to convert some of his roster bonus for next year into a signing bonus this year already. There might be some negotiating going on as to just how much of that roster bonus Cam wants in this new signing bonus. Maybe he wants the whole thing. Maybe he wants even more than that. Now, I don't know exactly what he's asking for. All I do know is that he's being paid the 24th highest mark for a defensive tackle coming off an all-pro season. So if he wants $6 to $8, maybe $10 million more in a signing bonus this year, the Steelers can afford to do that. So something tells me that they might come to some sort of agreement here, Ponzi, before the start of the season. before we kick off on Sunday, but who knows? I think either way, though, he'll be out there on the field. I don't think he sits out games. I just don't think that is a Cam Heyward thing to do. So we'll see what ends up happening. I can say this, though. If he doesn't play, that is a huge loss for the Steelers because you're already missing Derek Harmon. So, like, Y.A. Black would have to make a big step up if they don't have Cam Heyward on the sideline on Sunday. All right, so now let's get into our mailbag here, guys. It's my favorite segment of the week. I get to answer questions directly from you guys. Ponzi tells me that we got some good questions today. I hope it lives up to the billing. So without further ado, let's get into the mailbag right now. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Today, it's my favorite segment of the week here, guys. It is the Steelers Talk mailbag, where I get to answer questions directly from you guys, the Steelers fans, before we kick things off on Sunday when the Steelers play the New York Jets here in Week 1 of the 2025 NFL season. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you want to join the most interactive Steelers community anywhere here on YouTube, we have the largest Steelers watch parties for every single Steelers game. We also have weekly previews and post-game reactions, and we just give you guys general news and rumors coverage every single day as well. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. With that, let's get into my first question here from Czar Craig, my man. Says, do you think we will actually see a lot more pre-snap movement from TJ Watt this season? I think that we'll see TJ move around more than we have in previous seasons. I think before it was like 95% of his defensive snaps were lined up against the right tackle. I think we'll see him play a little bit more over the ball, play a little bit more on the other side when the matchup dictates it. This season. Now, in terms of this week's game, I think you're going to see a very familiar TJ Watt because the guy that they want to exploit on the offensive line is rookie Armin Membu from Missouri. So they're going to put TJ over the right tackle quite a bit this week. But as the season goes on, I do think that they're going to want to utilize Nick Herbig in their third down, maybe like NASCAR packages a little bit more, and they might put TJ Watt on the inside and run some stunts and do things like that to kind of free him up a little bit more from kind of the obvious chip help that's easily coming his way when you just stick him over the right tackle every single time. Then we get to DJ KJ. Says, what if Omar drafts a QB, then trades up for a receiver or position of need in the first round, then trade down in the second for more picks? How likely is that? Very unlikely. Very unlikely. I think that right now, if I'd have to guess how things pan out, and obviously, can't look into the future, but like, this is my best guess. The Steelers are going to have a pretty good season this year. They're going to be somewhere in like the mid-20s all the way to, the end of the first round, somewhere in that range, which means that if they want to get, quote-unquote, their guy at quarterback, they're probably going to have to trade up for him. In order to do that, especially with the draft positioning that the Steelers are likely to have, you're going to have to give up your first-round pick in 2027 to make that happen, most likely. So that's probably my best guess as to what happens. The Steelers have a good season. They identify a quarterback that they want to make the franchise quarterback of this team, and they're willing to give up not one, but 2 first-round picks to be able to move up for that quarterback. So I think that's probably the most likely way that the first round plays out for the Steelers. Then we get to $2 here from Justin Yankuski. Says, who breaks first, Cam or Steelers, if he holds out? I don't know the answer to the question, Justin. I think that, the Steelers have the means to pay him. So that's all I can really say about this. The Steelers can give him what he's looking for and still have plenty of cap space left over for this season. So frankly, I'm a little surprised it hasn't been resolved yet. But maybe the Steelers feel like they can, get away with not paying him a pay raise and he will still play on his contract. And they feel like, he's too much of a team guy, too much of a competitor, somebody that wants to win a Super Bowl now. He's not going to sit out an entire season. The Steelers may be calling Cam's bluff, but also Cam might be calling the Steelers' bluff here, right? Because he might say, without me, you guys don't have a chance to win a Super Bowl this year. And he would be kind of right about that. I mean, the splits last year when Cam was on the field versus off the field, astronomical, especially in terms of run defense. So Cam Heyward is a very much important piece to the Steelers defense that you need in order to win a Super Bowl this year, in my opinion. We'll see how this kind of situation plays out, but it wouldn't surprise me if even by the time this video comes out, they have a resolution in place. So put it on a scale for me down of 0 to 100 down there in the comments section. How worried are you about the Cam Heyward situation? 0% meaning not worried at all to 100 meaning I am so terrified, I am panicking, this is the worst situation ever. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by letting me know how you feel about the Cam Heyward situation. Then we got one here from Jagger. He says, what are the chances this team actually works together for the whole season and makes the playoffs and wins one game? I think the chances are pretty good. You know, obviously, there's certain components of the team that need to work out. The offensive line needs to take a big step forward. Somebody needs to step up as a legitimate number 2 receiving threat. Or you can trade for one at the trade deadline. The running back room needs to be able to create a top 10, at least top 15 run game. Aaron Rodgers can't be terrible. TJ Watt needs to stay healthy. Jalen Ramsey needs to stay healthy. Cam Heyward needs to stay healthy. So there's a lot of things that need to happen, but it is feasible and possible for this team to be a legitimate title contender this year. And, with Baltimore in the division, it's going to be tough to win the division and get a home playoff game, and it's going to be tough to win a playoff game against a legitimate title contender if you're not home. But certainly the possibility is there. I would give it at least a 50-50 shot, maybe even slightly more than that, for this team to win a playoff game this year. Then we get to Kyle, who says, do you think Will Howard has a chance to play this season at all, or do you think he's going to sit out this season? I think most likely he won't play this year. I think Aaron Rodgers plays every meaningful game for the Pittsburgh Steelers this season, that he's not injured, right? And the meaningful games that Rodgers is injured, I think, go to Mason Rudolph. So unless there's 2 quarterback injuries, or, we get to a point where the Steelers are playing non-competitive, important football games at the end of the season where the season's over and they're out of the playoff hunt, I don't think we see Will Howard this year. And if that's the case, obviously Will doesn't have his chance to prove to this team that he should be the franchise quarterback moving forward. So I think the only way we really see Will is, like I said, if either A, there's multiple injuries, and even in that case, we might see Skylar Thompson over Will Howard, or this team stinks, and by the end of the season, they're not in playoff contention, and they're just saying, let's put out Will Howard for a game or 2, maybe 3, and see what he can do before we get to the offseason. That's really the only way I see Will Howard getting legitimate snaps this year. So that's how I would answer that question, Kyle. Before we get to the rest of this week's mailbag, you guys can check out our friends at Fanatics and use our link, chatsports.com/PIT Week 1 to get this special offer t-shirt that they're doing for Week 1 here. If you guys use our link, you guys can get this t-shirt on sale when you go chatsports.com/PIT Week 1. That is down there in the comments and description of today's show. Really like the design of the t-shirt, guys. It's the black design there with the logo there in the middle, and then the full name. I think it's pretty clean. I think that this is a good one to wear around the house. It's a good one to wear on game day. If you guys want the Week 1 t-shirt here, guys, go chatsports.com/PIT1. Again, that link is down there in the comments and description if you guys want this Steelers t-shirt. Then we got one from Eric Gender, or Gender. I hope I'm saying your name right there. Eric says, hey, Jack, where do you predict us to draft at next year? Early 20s, maybe. The late teens. I'm thinking 15 to 18, maybe. I would actually say I think mid to late 20s, and if we're lucky, somewhere in the early 30s, right? Obviously, you would love to be picking 32nd and be Super Bowl champions, but I think realistically, you could certainly be in the playoffs again, and I think you can realistically win a playoff game, which would put you in the mid-20s. Now, it's very possible they lose that playoff game as well, which would put them again in the low 20s. Depending on their record. But, I don't think they're going to be so bad where they're 15 to 18. I think they're going to be probably at least 20 and probably a little bit higher than that at least. So I would say that's probably where they end up drafting. Then we got another one here from Kyle. It says, what wide receivers are still available to trade or get in free agency? There's not much. Odell Beckham Jr., there's not much. Nelson Aguilar, DJ Chark. Nobody's trading right now, all right? That's what I mean. Like, if a trade was going to happen, it would have already happened, right? The Steelers are not trading for somebody to bring in time for Week 1 because there's not enough time to onboard that player. So Maybe they make a trade in the weeks to come, like if the Jacoby Myers situation devolves or something like that. Maybe there's something that could be worked out there, but highly unlikely. I think the Steelers' plan, Kyle, whether you or anyone else likes it or not, is that they believe in Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III as their number 2 and number 3 receivers, and they're going to give those guys a shot to prove themselves. And if they can't and they don't live up to their belief in them, then they'll get aggressive for a receiver at the trade deadline, where guys like Romeo Doubs or Tyreek Hill or somebody else could be made available for the Steelers at the deadline. So I guess we'll just have to see how Roman and Calvin do at the beginning of the season. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you are a real one, it is the easiest way to help out our channel, guys. If you click that thumbs up icon, it tells the YouTube algorithm that you enjoy our content and that they should push this out to other Steelers fans like yourselves. So if you love this channel, you want to support the show, click that thumbs up icon to help get this video in front of more Steelers fans like yourselves. Then we got one from my favorite, Michelle West. Says, who do you like more, Green, Sellers, or Nussmeier? Right now, if I had to play an NFL game with one of these gentlemen, I would go with Garrett Nussmeier. Now, Lenore Sellers has the highest upside. Like, he is built like a Mack truck. He can run like a deer. He's got a strong as hell arm. He's got nice pocket presence, some really good playmaking instincts. Like, Lenore Sellers is tantalizing as hell. But Garrett Nussmeier, man, he's a warrior out there. He can throw with anticipation. He's not afraid to throw into tight windows. Now, that gets him into trouble here and there. But if you're looking for a gamer, a gunslinger, somebody that's kind of similar, honestly, I would say not as elite of an arm, but kind of similar play style to Matthew Stafford, somebody that's not a mobile threat at all, but really good mental processor, really clean throwing mechanics, really good anticipatory thrower as well, which translates really well to the NFL level, and he can throw over the middle of the field extremely efficiently. So I really like Garrett Nussmeier, man. I think right now he's one of the top quarterback prospects in the NFL draft next year. I mean, you're going up against Clemson. You have over 70% completion percentage. He had an awesome downfield throw for a touchdown as well, over 200 yards passing as well. So really like Nussmeier, man. We'll see how he plays the rest of the college football season. Then we got one from Gary Frank, says, do you think they should have gotten Egbuka? I don't think so, Gary. I think that they like their wide receivers. And, the thing about Steelers fans, man, is that, this fan base doesn't believe in Roman Wilson, who they really haven't seen play. And that's really the big reason why they don't believe in him, is because they want somebody that they've seen play and have success. But, like, the Minnesota Vikings right now are doing the same exact thing, only at quarterback with J.J. McCarthy, Roman Wilson's college teammate. And, like, wide receiver 2 is a way less risky position to be doing this strategy with than what Minnesota is doing with literally the quarterback, the most important player on their team. All right, so Roman Wilson, they brought him in here for a reason. All right, they went out and got him in the 3rd round for a reason. He's an excellent run blocker. He's got really great acceleration and quickness, great long speed, runs in the 4.3s, has really reliable hands, and they just feel like he's the perfect kind of number 2 receiver for this offense long term, and they're going to give him a shot to see what he can do. So, I think a lot of people don't have a lot of faith in the Steelers wide receiver room because, they're traumatized based on what happened last year with Van Jefferson. But I think this year is going to be different, man. I think Roman and Calvin are going to have good seasons, and I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do this season in black and gold. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Will Steelers add a wide receiver at some point this year? I certainly think it's possible. I think the biggest weakness with this wide receiver room is what happens if DK Metcalf gets hurt. You don't have a legitimate X-receiver to back him up. But the Steelers have shown interest in guys like that, like Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Gabe Davis. They've shown some interest in some backup X-receivers. So I think if they add a receiver before the trade deadline, it would be that type of receiver. But we'll see how Roman and Calvin do in terms of their interest in going out and getting another receiver at the trade deadline. That'll be it for this week's mailbag, man. Bunch of great questions this week. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because tomorrow, guys, Sunday, it is going to be our first watch party of the year. I can't wait to enjoy this first game with you guys. I can't wait to see Aaron Rodgers try and get his revenge against the New York Jets. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button. We're going live on Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Do not be late. An hour and a half of pregame coverage followed by live play-by-play and then extensive postgame coverage for you guys to kick off the Steelers season here in 2025. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, Ponzi. So before we head out here, let's talk a little bit about some super chats that came in. We got a last call here. All right, 3 minutes to get your super chats in, your donations in to get in on the raffle. $5 gets you into the raffle. $10 gets you 3 raffle tickets. $20 gets you 10, and your name on the gong. We're going to be giving away a Steelers Talk hat in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, guys? So make sure you get those super chats in. We got a couple super chats to catch up on here. We got Bernard Nixon saying, do you expect Cam to still play week 1? Yeah, I do. I think that one way or another, whether they give him the raise or not, I don't think Cam Heyward's going to sit out games. All right, he's the lifeblood of this locker room. I think he understands that, and I don't think he wants to miss games this late into his career. So I think he's pushing hard for the team to pay up, but I think if they don't, I don't think he will resort to sitting out games. So I do think he'll play on Sunday one way or another. We also got... I
believe that is all the super chats we have. I think we caught up on some of them.
Is this 20 retracted?
Let me see.
From Lulu? Do you see it?
I don't see it on my screen.
Maybe it says message retracted on here, so maybe she took back the 20. I don't know. But Lulu Roman put in, it says on my screen, a $20 super chat. So if Ponzi's not seeing it, F Ponzi in the chat. But shout out to Lulu, whether she donated or not.
Let me see if I can find it. I know she donated earlier.
Nope, this is showing up right now on my screen. But while the shot clock goes down here, let's talk a little bit here about our score predictions surrounding the season opener tonight, Ponzi. It's Eagles versus Cowboys. After trading Micah Parsons, they didn't address running back. I'm talking about Dallas here. This offseason, or at least not in a way that's hopeful for that team. Listen, man, I think this is going to be a blowout tonight, Ponzi. We got Kelly's here. She's my dad's wife.
Really?
Congratulations to those two, by the way. Kelly, it's great to see you. Thanks for stopping by today. We're ready to watch some football here. But we got Dallas versus Eagles. Like I said, guys, I think this is going to be a bloodbath tonight. All right, without Micah Parsons getting after Jalen Hurts, I think Jalen's going to have all time in the world to throw. And he proved last year that if he only has to complete 14 to 16 passes a game, he can get you a victory. So I'm going to go with 28-10. Eagles win. I think Saquon Barkley's going to run all over that Dallas Cowboys defense. I don't think they're going to be able to stop him. And I think Jalen will make a couple of good throws to AJ and to Devontae tonight. And I don't think it'll be particularly close.
You know, I said it in our Chat Sports little TikTok show that we had.
This is crazy. This is crazy, man.
I'm going to let it speak for itself.
35. So you think Dak Prescott is leading them to 35 points with no run game? Against that defense.
Hear me out. This is it. The Eagles go up 28-10 first half.
Oh my
Cowboys
gosh, you're having them come back?
Or they go up 28-7 and the Cowboys come back.
Oh my gosh, Ponzi. No. What are we doing here, Ponzi?
Cinema.
Okay, so
I did not get that super chat.
Let's count the amount of times the Eagles defense gave up 35 or more points last year.
It's going to be like one. I don't even think they gave up once. This is full-on delusion, by the way. This is not.
I'm looking, and I'm not seeing any. The most they gave up was to the Buccaneers in Week 4, which was 33. So this would be more points given up in Week 1, when the defenses are usually ahead of the offenses, by the way. I mean, it's a bold pick, man. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm off my rocker. Gary says it. I'm off my rocker. That's correct.
Gary, I agree, man. I don't know what Ponzi's doing, man. I don't know what Ponzi's doing with this pick right now.
It's just delusion.
It's just straight up delusion at this point. But you know what? I appreciate Ponzi, man. He puts in so much work for this show, man. So I want you guys to show some love to Ponzi to finish up today's show. But, man, we're going to enjoy some football tonight.
I'm excited.
We're going to get you guys covered with our watch party on Sunday. It's the next time we'll be live with you guys. And, man, it's been a long off season. It's been a long preseason for that matter, watching some really bad football from our Pittsburgh Steelers during the preseason this year. But I'm excited for this year, man. I think that the tight end room is going to give this offense the competitive edge that they've been missing for a very long time over the last several seasons. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to protect the football and elevate this quarterback room. I think Jaylen Warren and Caleb Johnson by the end of the season are going to be one of the best running back duos in the league. I think this defense, is going to be the best in the league this year. I'm excited. I predicted the Steelers to win 13 games this year and to win the division. I am extremely high on this team compared to the general public, and I understand that. But, man, I'm a believer. I hope you guys are too, and I can't wait to cover every second of this season with you guys right here on the show. Okay, let's give away a hat to finish out today's show, and then let's watch some football tonight, Ponzi. How about that? All right, so Ponzi's currently putting together our wheel.
And it is in.
And somebody is about to win a Steelers Talk hat to kick off the NFL season here in 2025. Let's send it.
Here we go.
It's a lot of Steelers.
Shuffle.
There's a lot of Steelers dads in there. So hopefully we get to send a signed hat to Steelers dad because he's having open heart surgery tomorrow.
Best of the prayers to him.
Thoughts and prayers with DJ KJ and Steelers dad. And there it is, Steelers dad. I have his address. So DJ, if you're still watching, if you want to send me the updated address just to make sure I know where to send it. But Ponzi and I will sign it, and we will send it to you guys. I know you already have hats, but I'm not sure if you have a signed hat. So I will send you guys a signed Steelers hat. Hopefully his surgery goes well tomorrow, and hopefully we can see him on Sunday a little bit. Hopefully. All right, man.
Lulu was asking, did the 20 go through on our end? I didn't see it on.
I'm seeing it on mine. There's no message in there. It just says $20 super chat.
I will say that our super chat fetcher has been acting a little weird.
So Lulu, we're gonna give you credit for that $20 super chat. We appreciate you. We'll put you on the gong as well. So shout out to Lulu Roman for the 20. We can't show it because our super chat software is not showing it, unfortunately, Lulu. But we appreciate your $20 there, and that'll be it for today's show, man. We got football, NFL fucking football tonight here, ladies and gentlemen, and I can't wait to watch. So thank you guys so much for your support. We will see you guys on Sunday for our first live Steelers watch party of the year when this team takes on the New York Jets. And until then, guys, here we go, Steelers.